So this is just the GA4, more so focused on UTM codes and GA4, like how both are integrated and how you can be able to find your UTMs within GA4. UTMs here. So what are UTMs? UTMs are Urchin Tracking Modules, or UTM for short, which is really just a small piece of code attached to the end of a URL just to target and track specific campaigns. So whenever you're online shopping, like at Target or Best Buy, or if you're looking on Nike, or say if you're looking at a blog, most of the time they have a UTM code attached to the end of that code, just so they're able to see where their users are coming from. And we're going to get into the parameters and the objectives just to really give you a better and deeper understanding of what UTM codes are. And that information is then sent back and segmented into Google Analytics. So the objectives of a UTM is, like I said, just to really understand where your users are coming from. The importance of the UTMs are to really to understand your audience better, their interests, and to just see how well your campaigns are doing, whether they're doing good or doing poorly, and where you can also see where you can improve. So say, for example, if you're doing a campaign and you're using email and you're also using socials, you can then go within Google Analytics to see how well those campaigns are doing, to see whether you should be using emails or whether you should be using more socials, just to kind of get a better understanding of where your audiences are coming from and what they like to use. Now we're going to start off with our parameters. The first parameter of the UTM is the source. And I'm going to also give an example later just so you can kind of see the full understanding of the UTM code. So the source is just essentially where the user, where the content originated from for the user. So I'm also going to send out a document for the UTM guidelines, and we just ask that you use the sources that we give you just to make sure the data isn't as cluttered. So, for example, some sources will be campus broadcasts, coming from social, coming from the newsletter, coming from a different college social. So, say it would be Robinson underscore social, president social for the president. Say if it's a QR code, say if it's a chat bot, or say if it's email admission. So you're kind of just wanting to specify where the content originated from so you can know where your user came from for that specific UTM. Next, we have the medium, and that just refers to where the medium used by a visitor to come there. So if it was a QR code, it would be that. If it was Amplify, for example, it would be that. If it was an email, it would be coming from an email. If it's the content library, it would be the content library. If it was a print, it would be that. And if it was SMS, it would be that. So these are just different examples of the medium here. Next, we have our content, which is really just a specific keyword unique to whatever specific content that you're sourcing from. So this was an example of a news article, which was the Belgian economic mission for CMII. So these are just some keywords to really, for you to have an understanding for what a specific blog, what specific part of the website, or what specific social post that UTM came from. And lastly, we have the campaign name. These are just really descriptive tags to identify the campaign. And we also provided some campaign names that you can use and choose from just to keep the data decluttered. But if you do come up with your own campaign name, just try your best to really make sure it fits and aligns within the ones that we provided. And if it doesn't align, then try to make up your own. But don't try your best not to make up too many at the same time, because it can really just clutter the data that's already stored in Google Analytics. So
It should be short too, right?
exactly short. Yeah, it shouldn't be too long. Exactly, short and simple. So some examples are just arts and culture, politics, law, and society. For example, March Madness, and then you put the year. So March Madness 2025, Homecoming 2024, 40 under 40, innovation, grant, scholarship. So these would just be some different examples of things that you can use for the campaign names. These are just some best practices that I've listed. Make sure to lowercase all your tags, because they're very case sensitive within Google Analytics. So if you put capital G, lowercase g, capital G, lowercase su, it would be different from all lowercase gsu. So make sure to lowercase all your tags, and also make sure to use underscores for your spaces. So It will be arts underscore culture as opposed to art space culture. You just want to do this just to ensure that all the data is kept the same, because say if you do a UTM code, but for one of them you do arts underscore culture, and then by accident you do art space culture, that'll be two different types of events, and it will be hard to keep all your data stored into one place. Next, we have our tools to help with the guidelines. So these are just some links that you can use to help with, with your UTMs. I will provide like screenshots and examples for how to use these, and these are included within the UTM guideline sheet that I will provide later on. So you can just look at the tutorial video, for example, on how to use your UTM generators within Hootsuite. You can also use the free UTM building tool, and then this is also a link that'll kind of show you how to track your UTMs within Google Analytics, but I'm also going to do a live demo of that as well too. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions or any thoughts? All right, cool. So next, we just have tools to help with the guidelines, like I said. So first, we have the UTM campaign builder. If you don't want to build it out yourself, essentially. So for me, I like to use OneNote and I just type my UTMs manually. But if you don't want to do that, you can go to the UTM builder site and build your, they'll basically will build your UTMs for you. So you just grab the URL that you want, and then you enter the values and the parameters that you need. So for the parameters, you just focus on the source, the medium, the campaign name, and then the campaign content. And then you just place them in there and they essentially will make your UTMs for you. And if you do want to use a URL shortener, if you have Hootsuite, you can go into there to make it shorter, or if you also have Bitly, you can do that too. And I'm also going to show you guys how to do that as well too, just to make sure that you have an understanding of it. So
That is,
yes,
that's the kind of thing I was looking for. I was wondering.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad they have it automated.
Mhm. Exactly. So yes, next we just have the Hootsuite UTM generator, like I said. So if you have access to Hootsuite, you can click create. Just like say, for example, if you're trying to make a post, pretend post on Hootsuite, you would then put your URL within the box right here. And then next you would click edit. And once you do that, this settings will pop up for you. You're going to want to select t.gsu.edu for the shortener. Make sure the tracking is for Google Analytics. And from there, you basically just type in the same thing as the UTM builder website. You would type in your source, your medium, your content, and your campaign. And Hootsuite would then build it for you. And they will also create a short link for you if you don't want the full URL, because I know sometimes it can be pretty long and it can look kind of weird for some people depending on where they want to place it. So you can use Hootsuite or Bitly as well too in order to shorten your URLs. Next, I'm just providing some examples of UTMs just so you're able to kind of see them in real time. So the first example we have is just tracking a newsletter article performance in email. So essentially, you can use these parameters to really understand where the traffic is coming from your website. So the example we have here is just a news from Georgia State email. The arrow is placed right next to the photo, and on the read more, they both have UTMs placed within them. So we can see what essentially our users are clicking on. So are they clicking on the photo more? Are they clicking on the read more and more? And from there, we're kind of able to see what students, what faculty, staff, and alumni like to see as well too.
Those are two different UTMs, one for the image, one for the button.
Yes, you can do the same thing if you would like, but you can also make two different ones so you can get a better understanding to see like what users are specifically clicking on. Yeah. And then this would just be the final example. You're able to see within Google Analytics. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys a live demo as well too. So you're able to find where your UTMs are placed within Google Analytics. So within Google Analytics, you're able to see the source and the medium that you just created, which for this example would be newsletter 030923, and then the medium will be email. So then you're able to see how well the UTM that you created is doing. So for example, right here, the sessions will be 153, the users are 134, and the new users are 76. The next example we have is just the homepage banner, the campaign with the button where it says see now. So one of the first things that people see on the GSU homepage site is that button for the most part. So you just want to see how many people are clicking there, and you're also able to see where they head to afterwards as well too. And then this will just be the screen grab of what you would see in Google Analytics to essentially see how many new users you have for the UTM code you created based on the source and the medium, the engaged sessions, the engagement rate, the average engagement time, and the sessions per user. And you're just trying to see how much traffic you're getting from the links that you created for the UTM. Lastly, the last example we have is the sleep mask airport campaign. This is basically with a QR code. So when you're using offline communications such as a flyer, magazine, brochure, QR codes are the best way to really just get your audience connected to the website. So this was an example of a campaign we did a couple years back. So at the airport, at the T gate, if you were to scan that QR code, it would take you to the website on the right, and all you have to do is sign up, and Georgia State would send you a free eye mask. So with this QR code, we created a UTM within it, of course, and from there we were able to see how many users were able to sign up. We're able to see that in the form that they filled out as well too, but it's just nice to have multiple forms and multiple data sets just to really understand where our users are coming from and where they go from there. Like say if they did sign up for the sleep mask campaign and then afterwards maybe they viewed our website, maybe they wanted to see what our degree programs were, maybe they were curious about going back to school or even wanting to go to school in the first place. So through this, we're able to really see and just really get a better understanding of just where our users are coming from, essentially. And then this would just be a screenshot example of how many new users, for example, were able to scan that QR code, our engaged sessions, our engagement rate, engaged sessions per user, and the average engagement rate. So you're just able to see here how much traffic we're getting for the links as well too. Last but not least, I wanted to just show you guys some tips and tools when it comes to Google Analytics. Like first thing would just be how to find your source and medium within Google Analytics. So I'm just going to do a live demo of that. So just hold on one second.
Yeah.
So here, this is just Google Analytics. This would be our News Hub Analytics, for example. So the first thing you would do would be to go into reports right here on the left-hand side. Once you're in reports, you would go to the section of lifestyle and then click on engagement. Once you're in engagement, you would go to pages and screens. And then once you're in pages and screens, this is where you're able to see all the data from your web pages. But if you want to get more specific, you would essentially just scroll down just a bit. You would click this plus sign right here, and then you would type in source. And the next thing you would click on would be session source / medium. And then once you click on that, you're able to see where your users are coming from. You're able to see your source and your medium, for example, here. And then say if you want to find a specific article that you're looking for, let's just type in music, for example, and say you built this UTM for music right here, you will be able to see your source and medium for that. So the source would be coming from Instagram, and then the medium would be referral. And that would just be the first step of what you would do to just try to find where your source and medium is from when it comes to your UTMs. You can also just press the X button right here and then say if you want to add something else, like a campaign, for example. If you want to find your session campaign, you would just click right here. And most of these are organic, so it would just show you right here where your campaign is essentially. But one here would be campus news, for example. So someone created this one on their own, and they'll be able to see what their campaign is. So it will be campus_news. Another thing that you can find within Google Analytics, say if you created your own custom event within the News Hub or within whatever college or department that you're covering, you'd be able to just find it right here for the specific event name that you created. So for example, say if you created your own custom event for videos, you wanted to see how many people are completing those videos within your web pages. So that would just be it right here. And then you would just click on it and it will show you the event count. It will also show you the country, it'll show you the gender, but sometimes depending on how small or how big the data set is, it will say no data available. It'll show your events per session and just things of that nature. Another cool thing that you can do is, I believe it's an acquisition, I want to say. So you will go to user acquisition. And for here, you'll be able to see just different types of data as well too. So for here, you're able to see email, the referral, organic social, organic search, direct, and yeah. Does anybody have any questions so far?
If you need to generate a report
Mhm.
for your UTMs and for like events and stuff that you're trying to track, like
Mhm.
multiple UTMs, how do you
Yes.
do that?
If you're trying to track multiple UTMs, you would go back to pages and screen, for example. Say let's go back to, sorry, let's press the plus sign and then type in source. And then we go to session source. Say if we type in music again, just to see whatever is created, we then would go to share this report and we would just download the file. You can either choose from a PDF, a CSV, or just export straight to Google Sheets. If you want the PDF, it'll just basically screen grab all of this and transport it into a PDF essentially. And then once it's downloaded, it will be downloaded and you'll just be able to see it from there. When it also comes to wanting to see multiple UTMs at a time, I think personally for me, it's sometimes best to go into Looker Studio, for example, which here we go to like create data visualization dashboards just to really get a fuller and a deeper dive of whatever web page, whatever college that we want to track. So say if we have a GSU impact board, essentially showing like our new users, total users, views, average time, for example, we would just go here to have that created. And say if we want to track like a specific type of like UTMs to see where people are coming from, it's better to build it in this platform. And I can do another training about how to use Looker Studio as well too, if anybody wants a deeper understanding. Most definitely. So you would just go into Looker Studio to create multiple UTMs that you created. I think it would be better to do that. Are any of these reports shareable so we can update them? Yes. Just reach out to me personally if you do need to have this shared, and I can set up a quick call with you just to give you a better understanding of that. But does anybody have any other questions as well too?
What does direct and the other one in source and referral?
Do
Like
you
where
mean
it says, yeah, with source and referral, there's like direct and then slash, and I can't think of what it was, but
Oh, gotcha.
it's
Hold on.
nondescript where you just really didn't know.
Source. You mean direct and none?
And none, right.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So this would just be the automatic. So say if someone didn't create a UTM code for their web page, it would strictly automatically just go to direct or none, or sometimes it would yeah, it's supposed to be direct or none if someone didn't create a custom UTM for their web page. And then if someone's coming from Google, it'll just say Google Organic. So say if someone typed in music GSU and then they clicked on the first link they saw for Georgia State University, that would be then tracked as Google Organic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Does any, yeah, do you have any other questions? Does anybody else have any other questions?
Should we be creating UTM codes for like everything at this point in time, or what's the importance of them for? You know, when should we not create UTM codes for basic links within our websites?
Gotcha. So say if, let me try to think of an example. Say if you're sending out an email to a small audience, for example, for me personally, I don't think it is necessary to create a UTM just for that personally. But say if you're making a new web page that you know a lot of people are going to be clicking on, then you most definitely want to create a UTM for that. Or say if you're making a QR code for a magazine that's being printed or a card that's being sent out for the holidays, for example, it would be nice to create that custom UTM code just so you'd be able to see um, the traffic for that. Um, so I guess it just really just depends on how large the audience is and based upon what specifically you are making. And then if you're not sure and you just don't know whether you should or should not create it, you can always just reach out to me and I could give you some better insight to understand if you should create that UTM code or not.
Cool.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
When are they going to change it to GA5?
GA5. I don't know actually. Hopefully it's not anytime soon because I know when it was GA Universal to 4, that was like a whole big thing with a lot of changes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't heard anything new yet. So just waiting to see.
At my own personal website, I just let the Google Analytics die. I wasn't
Yes,
even
exactly.
that point. It was such a pain.
No, I understand.
This may be too huge of a question for right now since we're focusing on UTMs, but I was kind of curious about like path exploration and where this would come into like if we're doing a campaign, how are people moving through the site from the campaign?
Yes, you should be able to track that. Oh, explore. So from here, you can click on path exploration, and then you're able to just move these options right here to try to understand like where specifically your users are coming from. So say if, let's see, for example, trying to think of an example. It's kind of harder for me to think of an example right now, but I know within path exploration, you're able to really understand like where your users have started and then where they will continue to go. I can do like a deeper dive of this as well too in another session, or like if you want for me to just, if you want to reach out to me and I can give you like a one-on-one kind of better understanding of this, if that will work for you.